1.
Well, if you're just joining us for the better part of the morning and in the afternoon, senators were querying the Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, as well as the National Police Service Inspector General Douglas Kanja, on the death surrounding Albert Ojwang, the influencer who was declared dead at the Central Police Station at exactly on Friday. And of course, investigations are still ongoing. What the senators were trying to probe the CS as well as the Inspector General of Police is the whereabouts, tracing back the footsteps of Albert Ojwang from Homa Bay all the way here to the capital. And of course, the senators have adjourned. They had allocated approximately 2 hours and 30 minutes to canvass that particular issue. The Speaker of the Senate, that is Jeffa Amason Kingi, has just noted that the time has elapsed. They will come back at exactly 2:30 p.m. to continue with that particular issue, with the senators asking who gave the order to bring Albert Ojwang here in the capital and why was he not taken to the Homa Bay police stations thereabout. Those are the questions that the CS as well as the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, were trying to answer. At exactly 2:30 p.m, we'll be going back live to the Senate for that particular questioning from the senators. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom of the screen is Ann Wangeshi. But to other news now, a section of clergy are calling for the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to conduct an impartial investigations into the death of blogger Albert Ojwang. The clergy has also urged the judiciary to fulfill its responsibility to ensure that justice is served. In a press briefing in Nairobi County, the leaders called for accountability and transparency in law enforcement, asserting that every citizen deserves protection under the law.
This young man being taken all the way from Homa Bay County and being brought to Nairobi, while we have a lot of police stations and police posts and police areas where this case or this young man could be interrogated and be able to be handled.
Polisi waajibike jinsi iwapasavyo na watende kulingana na katiba na jinsi waliajiriwa kufanya hiyo kazi.
And exactly at 2:30 p.m, the Senate will continue to query the CS, that is Interior Kipchumba Murkomen, and the Inspector General of Police in relation to the death of Albert Ojwang. As and when that particular session will start, we'll be going there live once more. But for other news now, elders from the Kiama Cultural Council, representing Laikipia and Nyandarua counties, have called for the protection of all Kenyans, especially the youth, amid growing national concern over rising cases of disappearance and mysterious deaths. Speaking during a traditional cleansing ceremony held in Nyahururu near the historical Thompson Falls at the site of the fallen Mogumo tree, the elders condemned the recent spate of youth abductions and killings, describing the situation as heartbreaking and unacceptable. Kiama National Vice Chairman Michael Mugo called out the conduct of some political leaders, urging them to refrain from using divisive and inflammatory language during public meetings.
Si tunaomba Inspector General wa Polisi, tafadhali ongea na wafanyikazi wako idara, tunawapenda, lakini wasio wanatuua, wasio wanaua watoto wetu, na wasiwe kama mmoja wao amekazirishwa na mtu, ashikwe, pelekwe kotini, koti likimpata ako na makosa, atahukumiwa, atafungwa na atarekebisha maisha. Lakini mtu akiuawa hawezi kurekebisha maisha.
Wasee wako hapa na wanafanya ibada ya kujaribu kuunganisha Kenya yote na vijana wetu na watoto wetu.
Elsewhere, public servants seeking training at the Kenya School of Government KSG are said to benefit from enhanced technological knowledge following the signing of a memorandum of understanding between KSG and the Open University of Kenya. According to the institution's Director General, Professor Noura Mohammed, public service has for long been hesitant to embrace technology, including artificial intelligence, in its operation and training.
Learning at the Kenya School of Government, which is mandated to provide capacity development programs for the public service, is set for a major boost following the inking of a memorandum of understanding with the Open University of Kenya. The collaboration is expected to modernize the training of public servants, leveraging on digital platforms and especially the use of artificial intelligence.
Our learning is fully online, and the fact that it's fully online, it implies that it doesn't matter where you are anytime, everywhere, anywhere you are able to access our learning materials. And it is by virtue of the learning platform that we have at the Open University of Kenya that we find the partnership between the Kenya School of Government and the Open University of Kenya very strategic.
Speaking during the forging of the partnership, KSG Director General Professor Noura Mohammed highlighted the widening technological gaps in the training of public officers, saying the collaboration will offer an opportunity to reverse the trend by integrating modern tools into capacity building efforts.
More often than not, I think public service is not very responsive for as far as the whole issue of emerging technologies and artificial intelligence is concerned. And it is around that, therefore, then we approach the Open University of Kenya so that then collaboratively we develop and roll out a very transformative, progressive, to make the public servant digitally literate and also intelligent in as far as the emerging technologies are concerned.
The MOU outlines key areas of cooperation, among them a joint development and delivery of online training programs and the collaborative research and consultancy.
The rollout of this program will also help the government to realize a very critical mandate, which is also the fifth pillar, that is a super digital highway and creative economy. And that is why, by extension, we'll also be building the capacity of also young leaders in the public service to facilitate the government in moving to the next level for as far as, the emerging technologies are concerned.
The program targets to train and retool at least 1,000 public servants before the end of the year 2025, giving them a chance to explore into emerging technologies.
We can reach as many people as possible within a shorter time. And hence, the fact that he has noted that we anticipate in our very first round of reaching out to public servants in Kenya, we hope to reach up to about 100,000 or even beyond by December, because the platform provides that opportunity.
John Kahiro for Lunchtime News.
Now let's go back to our top story this afternoon in regards to the death of Albert Ojwang. We have just received a statement from President William Ruto. He says, and I quote, "Like most Kenyans, and especially as a parent, I've received the news of the death of Albert Ojwang while in police custody, which is utter shock and deep dismay. I take this moment to extend my heartfelt condolences to Meshach Ojwang and his family for the cruel loss of their beloved son." The president goes on to say that the tragic occurrence at the hands of the police is heartbreaking and unacceptable. I strongly condemn the actions and omissions, including any negligence or outright criminality that may have contributed to his untimely death. The head of state says that it must be borne in mind by every member of the National Police Service that whatever they take a person into custody, they assume a tremendous responsibility for that individual's safety, security, as well as well-being, and must make even efforts to discharge this duty consciously and without a fail. The president has further stated that the National Police Service is the nation's trusted custodian of the security of all persons and property, and they must always uphold this trust in order to secure and maintain the legitimacy and credibility in the eyes of the people. The president says, "It has been my conviction that affirming the institutional autonomy of the police service is key to raising its standards of professionalism, effectiveness, accountability and credibility. The service must therefore rise to the challenge all firmly." dealing with criminal elements and lawlessness, with also eradicating misconduct and unprofessional behavior within its own ranks. The president has further called on the National Police Service to fully cooperate with the Independent Policing Authority, that is IPOA, to take every necessary measure to facilitate a swift, transparent and credible investigations into the death of Ojwang. He has finally stated that as we mourn his passing, let us patiently but vigilantly follow the progress of the investigations without making premature judgments or drawing conclusions that could compromise the process and its outcome. I fully expect that the truth about what happened to Ojwang will be established in due course and that justice will be served. That is a statement from President William Ruto, who has called on the National Police Service to cooperate with the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, that is IPOA, as investigations into the circumstances that led to the death of Albert Ojwang is being investigated. We'll have more for you in our subsequent bulletins, but do not forget that exactly 2:30 p.m. the Senate will be coming back to continue querying the CS of Interior, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, and the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja. To other news now, the County Assembly of Laikipia suspended its irregular sessions to address the escalating insecurity in Matigari Salama ward, where 2 people have been killed and more than 300 families displaced. Salama ward MCA Mugambi Gatati introduced the motion urging both the county and the national governments to step in and support the affected families who are currently camping at a church in Rumuruti. The victims are now calling on the government to investigate the attacks thoroughly and ensure those responsible are brought to justice before the situation worsens.
Sisi hatujaona viongozi ambao waliochaguliwa wakienda kushughulikia wananchi. Wananchi saa hizi ndio wako na shida zile mingi. Wamama wanalala pale, wanalala jaa, watoto kama 100 hawaendi shule, na mnajua wakati vita inakuja, wamama na watoto ndio watu wale wanaathiriwa zaidi. Mimi ningetaka kuuliza viongozi wetu, Mheshimiwa Gavana, fika pale, wale familia tujaribu kuwasaidia katika hii wakati wako na wakati mgumu sana.
Tungeomba serikali kuu, wale ambao wanasimamia maneno ya security, waweze kupatanisha elders from all the communities wale wako affected, ili waweze kuzungumza na kutafuta suluhisho ya hii maneno, ndio ifike kikomo, isiendelee kwa sababu inaweza kuzaa maneno mabaya zaidi.
Also, emotions ran high at the Kiambu High Court during an ongoing hearing of a murder case involving a former KIMC student who was brutally killed in 2022. Purity, a former KIMC student, was murdered in 2022, alleged by her boyfriend. DJ Flex, witness, told the court she left to collect her license and never returned. Her body was later found dumped in Buria, Kiambu County, with stab wounds and strangulation wounds. The prosecution, led by Augustine Gashiria, says 5 witnesses remain, including forensic detective, set to testify on November 25th.
After when she didn't come back? Yes. I didn't see. Did you get to talk to DJ friends again?
We are tired of coming back to court each and every time. Kesi inafaa isikike na isikike kwa haraka, kwa sababu sisi wenye tunabaki nyuma kama watu ambao tulipoteza watoto wetu ama familia zetu ama jamii zetu, tuko na uchungu tukiona wale walifanya hiyo kitendo koti hajawachukulia hatua bado.
Also, students and staff of Madenge Technical Training Institute have joined thousands of other Kenyans in supporting the government's nationwide tree planting campaign aimed at addressing climate change and restoring the environment. The institution held a tree planting exercise on its campus grounds where each student was tasked with planting at least 5 trees. Technical and Vocational Education and Training TVET Principal Secretary Dr. Esther Moria noted that the tree planting drive was on the right trajectory.
We want to plant 3.5. We have already planted million, and we have already planted 2.5 million. So if we manage the 3.5 million, and we are determined to achieve that 3.5 million plus, then we will even have surpassed our annual target.
Still on environmental matters, Malindi environmental conservation stakeholders have embarked on a program to sensitize waste collectors within the resort town on how to generate income from the collection and recycling of garbage. The stakeholders, led by Progress Welfare Association of Malindi, said since they started the monthly cleanup exercise in 2019, over 5 recycling companies have been established with over 14,000 tons of waste collected within the period. Speaking during a visit to one of the centres, the stakeholders also urged the waste collectors to form CBOs and benefit from the climate change funding.
Kama zile groves hapa, kuna vigae, kuna taka zingine, kuna mashindano, utapata ziko hapa. Ona kama wa municipal wako na gambut, lakini mkituunga, yani muone, yani tunasaidiwa na vitu kama hizo groves, hizo gambuts.
Ikianguka unapata ni plastic zimekusanyika huko ndani, so roots haziwezi ingia chini. Tukienda baharini unapata kasa wamerushwa nje ya maji kwa sababu mwingine amefungwa miguu na plastiki, wamekufa, wamechoka. So nyinyi mnatusaidia kujiepusha na hayo mambo yote.
Na tangu tuanze tumeweza kupeleka kwa recycling watu wetu, wale watu wote volunteer ku clean about 14,000 tons, kama 14,000 tons za PET na HDPE. Sasa hii HDPE ndio unaona inatengeneza vitu kama hizi.
Na mahitaji mbalimbali nitashughulikia. Hizo gloves mtapata, kama ni mask pia mtapata, kama ni rek kidogo za kufanya hii mahali kuwa safi pia mtapata. Nafikiri pia wanahitaji magunia kusanya hizi bidhaa.
It is exactly 21 minutes past the hour. We need to take a first breather, but don't go too far. On the other side, we have a lot in store, including an interview on electronic waste management in Kenya. That is what we have for you in our business segment, so you do not want to miss. Talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim too, so don't go too far.
Vultures are gathering, Ladama. With every bit that falls, power shifts.
I want them to feel the emptiness I feel.
All of our property and assets shall be left to Amichir Atessa.
Our legacy unravels.
Mimi ndio sheria, mfalme wale Murat.
Who will be left standing when the last beat falls? Shanga Season 2, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. on Maisha Magic Plus. Stay connected to DSTV Channel 163 and GoTV Channel 3.
Do you have a complaint, or is something just not adding up with your pension scheme? It's easy to file a complaint directly with the Retirement Benefits Authority, and it's absolutely free. Just visit www.complaints.rba.go.ke and follow the prompts to file your complaint. RBA will acknowledge your complaint within 7 working days. Your complaint will be reviewed and addressed within 30 working days. Your time and peace of mind are important, and anyone dissatisfied with a decision of RBA can appeal to the Independent Retirement Benefits Appeals Tribunal. RBA is here to listen and resolve your complaint promptly, because your retirement should be stress-free. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800-720-300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
They say the earth without art would just be
Get it? We circumnavigate the globe and traverse the local scene to bring you arts and culture at their very best. From fine art, culinary art, performing arts, and even cultural events, you name it, and we have got you covered. My name is Kevin Kisioki, and I will be serving you this and much, much more each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to the devolved units where county governments are in the spotlight for domestic and well at prioritizing domestic and foreign. Let me take that again. The county governments are in the spotlight for prioritizing domestic and foreign travels, as well as paying bloated payrolls over development and service delivery. Now, this is according to the report by the Controller of Budget for the last 9 months in the financial year of 2024-2025. Leading the list in the county spending the bulk of the budget on travel is Nairobi County, that spent 615 million shillings, followed by Tana River at 502 million shillings and Kitui, which spent 441 million shillings. The Controller of Budget further revealed that most of the counties are spending more than half of their revenue on wages, breaching the law and limiting development spending.
Controller of Budget and the Auditor General, you are our principal partners.
The Controller of Budget, Dr. Margaret Nyakango, is once again raising the alarm over the wastage of public resources and other devolved units towards a recurrent expenditure at the expense of development. In our latest report of the County Government Budget Implementation Review for the financial year 2024-2025, the Controller has noted that county government used billions of taxpayers' funds to pay for extravagant travels domestically and abroad. Nairobi, considered the green city under the sun, is leading the charge in globe-trotting, having spent 615 million shillings to visit countries in Europe. Tana River was second, having spent 502 million shillings for travel, while Kitui used 441 million shillings. Further, the Controller noted that county governments have spent 80% of their 2024-2025 budget on salary, only 20% for development. The governors only spent 56.87 billion shillings on development, activities representing an absorption rate of 26% against the annual development budget of 220 billion shillings. Moreover, the Controller of Budget further revealed that most counties are spending more than half of their revenue on wages, breaching the law and limiting development spending. This is why counties like Kisii, Bomet, Taita Taveta, Kisumu, Bungoma and Machakos recorded low revenue collection for the financial year under review. The never-ending pending bills saw the devolved unit being owed 172.51 billion shillings as of 31st of March 2025. And in other news, victims of gender-based violence in Kwale County are calling for urgent action from security agencies to stop the rising abuse. The calls came as victims shared their ordeal during public forum in Kinango. Area leaders urged police to arrest GBV perpetrators and end killings of women in the area.
Wakati tumekuja polisi, saa nyingine police officers pia huwa wanakuwa yani ni kama wanaona ushahidi haupatikani. Assist us, to guide us. Madam Fatma, saidia hawa watu, ni saa nyingine wanaogopa kudisclose mambo mengine.
Sio kupigwa, sio kukatakatwa, lakini hata mimba za mapema ambazo tumeona katika wodi hii ya Makina especially tumeweza kuathirika vilivyo. Ni hivi majuzi tulikuwa tunafanya ile takwimu ili kugundua ni vipi, na tukaona kwamba location hii ya Makina tumeweza kupigwa vizuri na mimba za
The government has been challenged to fast-track efforts of revitalizing schools' infrastructure as a crucial step towards decongesting the public learning institutions in the country. Stakeholders in the education sector have decried the deplorable state of public schools, majorly stemming from poor infrastructure. Led by Rosalind Karithi of the Master Empowerment Center, the players who spoke at the Mwiki Primary School called for more collaborative efforts between the government and the private sector to harness funds for the establishment of more schools and facilitate the facelifting of the already existing ones.
There are quite a number, and they are missing out on some of the activities that they are supposed to do, like music and other equipments that they need for effectiveness of their study. And we are intending to do resource mobilization to ensure that we have a fully-fledged CBC section for our learners. And at the same time, we are missing on a library in the school. So we are reaching out to people outside there. If you are there, you can partner with us. We sincerely need a library for our learners here.
Kuna mahitaji kama madrasa mengine pia, kwa sababu watoto kwa kila darasa ni wengi. Ni takribani watoto karibu 70-80 hivyo kwa darasa, na tungetaka pengine ikiwezekana wao watoto 50 wakienda sana 60 kwa darasa.
Sisi tuko tayari kushikamana na shule na pia kushikamana na wale wengine wengi ambao wangetaka na ambao wanaweza taka kuhusika na kusaidia jamii ama the society that we have.
At least 15 illegal pubs have been shut down in Ngong's Kamura village following a security crackdown. A multi-agency team raided the 24-hour drinking spot that had continued to operate despite lacking valid licenses. The outlets, previously closed in 2013, had reopened under unclear circumstances. Authorities say the pubs had turned the residential village into a drunk neighborhood. Two youth deaths linked to alcohol abuse have been reported so far.
Community imesema haitaki club karibu na residence zao, na kuna shule, kuna kwa chief, kuna hospitali iko hapa. So ni huzuni kubwa sana kwa sababu watoto wanaamka asubuhi badala ya kwenda kutafuta ajira, wanaenda kurarukia vileo.
Kamati ya bunge ambayo mimi naongoza ya public service, ambapo social services is domiciled, tulipitia hapa wiki 3 zimepita kufanya inspection yetu, na tumesema hizo vilabu zote zifungwe. Not only these ones, the whole of Kajiado North Sub-County. We cannot entertain a society ambayo itakuwa kazi ni kuuziwa pombe asubuhi. Vijana wetu wengi wamegonjeka, wengine wamekufa.
To Northeastern, where Garissa Governor Natif Jama has urged youth in the area to keep off drugs, substance abuse and engaging in criminal activities. The governor made the remarks during a football tournament where he urged the youth to focus on productive activities as the leaders of tomorrow and refrain from self-ruin.
Tuachane kabisa na mambo za madawa za kulevya na pia anything which is not allowed by our religion. I will do my best to promote soccer for the youth of Garissa County as much as possible.
Now to our top story in the world of business. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says pesticide manufacturers are derailing the fight against banned pesticides. Kagwe says some pesticide companies are sponsoring narratives that seek to instigate farmers to use the banned chemicals.
And if you fight back
as severe guerrillas. They will fight back through the media, ensuring that the media is reporting good things and fighting back on dangerous chemicals that we want to ban. They will fight back in our legislative houses, bribing members of parliament and others. They will fight back in our own ministries to ensure that they have got their own agendas being sustained within the ministries. Communication is clear that these products are banned, for example. You know, a few weeks back, I banned about 50 products in the Kenyan market. But to communicate and make our people aware that there are such products that are not supposed to be used, you know, is something that requires continued effort from all of us. The enforcement agencies, the regulatory agencies, we all should participate. And the communication aspect.
Well, I was preparing myself for an interview here. It will see my director ameniuza kidogo, but it's okay. We'll continue. Today we are focusing on electronic waste management in Kenya. And of course, joining us right now is Nancy Ng'ethe. She is the Business and Development Manager, Waste, Electrical and Electronic Equipment Company. Nancy, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Maybe tell us, how is the sector looking like as e-waste management is concerned?
All right. Of course, we've come from Waste Center. Waste Center stands for Waste, Electrical and Electronic Equipment. We are a leading recycling facility in Eastern Africa, currently headquartered in Utawala, Embakasi, and with active operations in Africa in more than 18 countries. The e-waste sector right now is a very interesting space to be in, and this is because of the high demand and appetite that all of us have to have newer versions of electronic gadgets. So we're always upgrading, getting new high-powered gadgets, whether it's at the kitchen or our young ones who are earning a living, you know, from social media and things like that. So in terms of where we are right now, we are finding very high levels of electronic waste coming in. And this is because, of course, we are saying the more people are buying the devices, and because of the low specs we are getting right now, a lot of the manufacturers are not, you know, producing gadgets that have high span. So therefore, you find that these gadgets are dying very fast. So it means we are getting more volumes, and the trajectory, or rather what we are projecting, is that is still going to increase. So it's, I think it's a very interesting space now that all the statistics show that we are getting more appetite for devices, and manufacturers are not giving us very high, you know, the lifespan being high. Therefore, the gadgets are dying. So we are in a very busy kind of a space. Yes.
And of course, looking at the e-waste management strategic plan that was launched back in 2019 was set to lapse in 2024. Is there a new one? And if there is a new one, what areas is it looking at, especially in the sector? In the sector,
yes. So we actually have an improvement. A lot of things have gone into. It's been revised a couple of times. We have the extended producer responsibility policies that you know, came in effect in some time in May. So this makes sure that manufacturers, producers are responsible for the end of life of whatever equipment they're producing. So there is a lot of progress. We have a lot of focus. We have a lot of support from the national government and also the county government, making sure that now producers and manufacturers are keen on just not producing, but taking care of the devices that, you know, have gotten to the end of life. So in terms of regulations, I think I would say we have a lot of those regulations. They've been revised. I think we are at a point now we are looking at execution, which of course now we have the regulator, NEMA, taking care of the execution, making sure that now those policies are you know, are effected. Yes.
And of course, many have touted Africa to be the dumping site for especially second-hand gadgets. So given that in this particular sector, give us some statistics in terms of how much gadgets do we receive, especially second-hand, or call them refurbished at the end of the day. How do we receive them in the country, and how do we manage them?
Okay, so in summary, right now we are looking about 53 tons of e-waste being generated in Kenya. And our numbers will show us about 5% or less is being properly recycled. Now, half of that would say is coming from, you know, what we would call the refurbished or gadgets coming in as a donation. But of course, we have a lot of effort from the stakeholders, making sure, for example, the cabs and such, making sure that the gadgets that are coming in are also within, you know, in terms of working conditions. So there is effort from stakeholders to make sure that we are keen on the gadgets coming in. And of course, the outcry where, you know, we are now aware. The community and the partners are also aware that, you know, by the time you're receiving these gadgets, they better be in a condition that, you know, they'll be able to service the community 6 years, 8 years. And of course, now that we already know where the end of life of this equipment goes, then it becomes, you know, sort of a closed loop. Of course, we are not encouraging dumping. So we look at the number of years they're in good condition, they can serve our community. But then even if they get to the end of life, we know that we have institutions like the WIS Center who are able now to come in and take care of the end-of-life equipment. Yes.
As you tackle that particular issue, especially your company and other key sectors, especially within this particular e-waste management, how do you ensure that whatever you are doing at the end of the day coalesces with the green economy? You know the government is banking on that. So how do you ensure at the end of the day you're protecting the environment?
Wow, that's a good one. Remember that even as WIS Center, our bigger goal is to take care of the environment, but now focus on proper disposal of electronic waste. So, and this, we know that electronic waste, if not properly disposed of, is able to emit whether it is hazardous gases when you burn things like the cables. You're able to get lead and mercury from a lot of these equipments, which will contaminate our soil, you know, and our soil and our water bodies. This directly then shows us that if we take care of the environment, then of course we'll have a more greener and safer environment. To answer your question on the green economy, is that we are working very closely with the informal sector because we realized we cannot win this fight. You find a lot of these equipments are in the informal sector, the slums, and you know, people living in such places. So what we are doing is we take what we call the positive value electronic waste, and we are able to, you know, compensate them. So they do that. Does two things. One is we help collect those equipments from the slums and these areas, and number two, when we're able to compensate them, it means that they earn a living out of that. So we are able to make sure that they get a living, which also contributes to green economy. So that is how we are working, you know, with the youth, the women. We have programs right now which we're involved in training. Last quarter, we had a cohort of about 600 youth who came in, and we trained them on proper skills, how to dismantle the devices, you know, protective gear, because you have to make sure that you're protected as you're dismantling. And now we have people who've been able to put up repair shops, and they're able to earn a living through that. So that directly contributes to, you know, the green economy. Yes.
And as we're coming to a close to this particular interview, maybe tell us the challenges that you're currently facing and how you'll tackle them. And at the end of the day, the majority of these youths you're talking of are looking at you right now asking a simple question: are there opportunities within the sector?
Yes, we get a lot of that, and yes, there's an opportunity. I think you know, I would encourage a lot of the youth who are watching currently to just go to all our social media platforms and look for the WIS Center, and because we'll be able now to get in touch. You can call the numbers on the screen, I mean on the website, and find out the opportunities. The quick answer to that is, as I mentioned, we're able to compensate when you bring to us the positive valued electronic waste. That is one. And just to quickly go into some of the challenges, I think as we all know, we have very good policies in Kenya, beautiful policies. I think we are at a point where we just need to make sure that these policies are properly executed. So I think the challenge would be just to push that a lot of these policies are sitting you know, on the desks are able to be executed properly by the regulators. Otherwise, I think there is good progress. We are a good space. We encourage all of us to take care of our electronic waste, whether at our home level or at our working places. As we also end, it's also important to mention that we run a very good forum called Africa International Electronic Waste Conference, which brings global leaders. We are able to talk about, the policies, the trends, the challenges, in this sector and how other countries are overcoming the same. It will be held in October on the 16th and 17th. You're all welcome. Kindly register on our website.
Okay, thank you so much. There you have it. You can register for that upcoming summit. That is Nancy Ngede. She is the Business and Development Manager at the West Electrical and Electronic Equipment Company. Thank you for making time for us, bringing us up to speed with the electronic waste management here in the capital. We'll continue this conversation another time, but to more business news. The agriculture sector in Kenya is facing fresh hurdles as ongoing court battles over genetically modified organisms continue to stall the adoption of modern biotechnologies. The Ministry of Agriculture says these innovations could help tackle the emerging challenges such as new pests, diseases, and climate-related threats.
In October 2022, the Kenya Cabinet lifted a decade-long ban on the cultivation and importation of GM crops and animal feeds. It is important to note that the decision to lift the ban on GMOs was consistent with the findings of various studies that determine that there are robust policy, legal, regulatory institutional structures in Kenya to ensure responsible and safe applications of modern biotechnologies.
We are having a challenge with the public perceptions. And this is why we are having all issues, the court cases, the people coming and creating the bans and the moratoriums and all that. And the question is, how do we build this confidence?
National soccer team Harambee Stars recorded the first win under head coach Benny McCarthy when they beat Chad 2-1 in their second international friendly match in Marrakesh, Morocco. Harambee Stars goals were netted by debutants Emmanuel Osoro and David Sakwa, who rose to the occasion before the break. Osoro went into the scoresheet first in the 18th minute before Sakwa made it 2-0 after 26 minutes. The Kenyan team, which is preparing for the 2024 African Championship, had drawn 0 with Chad in their first international friendly on Saturday. Head coach McCarthy, who has now taken charge of 4 matches, securing 1 win, 2 draws and 1 loss, is using the build-up matches to gauge the team before the Continental Championship for home-based players.
Exceptionally well, we deserve to win, and then you don't win. And you could see the expression on the face of the players when you've played the way that we did and you don't win the game. So today I just said to them, just now we just have to kick on a little bit. When you play the way that we did and you create the chances and you take them, then you'll see how easy it becomes.
Kwa lapu yangu ya kwanza kuitwa Harambee Stars na nimepata kufunga bao, ni experience poa na ni kitu nimeishi kutamani siku moja niitwe kwa hii collab. Na imefanyika na nimejituma, nimepata bao, nimepiga assist. Ni feeling poa sana. Ndio kitu nimeishi kutamani na imehappen, na at least naona nimeanza na mwanzo poa.
Ni moment poa ya kufunga bao kwa national team. Kufunga kwa national team bao, unajua unakuwa proud, Wana umeachieve kitu. Na feel poa sana.
Vijana wamecheza poa. First game ikuenda vile tulikuwa tunataka. But the mood in the camp remained too strong. Leo tulikuja kwa kiwanja tukijua we must pick something from hii game.
Now, with much glee, the Lions of Teranga of Senegal mauled England 3-1 in an international friendly match at the City Grounds to become the first African side to beat the Three Lions. This was also coach Thomas Tuchel's first defeat after taking over the team. Now, the Three Lions opened the score sheet through Bayern Munich striker Harry Kane in the 7th minute through a tap-in. However, the Lions of Teranga grabbed a deserved equalizer shortly before half-time through Ismail Yassar. The second half saw Habib Diarra break in behind Lewis Kelly to make it 2-1 for the visitors. Senegal then made matters worse for England with the third courtesy of Mets winger, that is Sheikh Sabali. Well, of course, those particular results, those were the scenes, and we do hope this particular momentum being created by the African continent, especially when it comes to football, will continue to the 2026 World Cup. Now, the Netherlands crashed Malta 8-0 in their Group G FIFA World Cup European qualifying match yesterday at Euroborg Stadium. Memphis Depay scored twice in the opening 60-minute, leaders Finland with a game in hand. In other UEFA World Cup qualifying matches, Finland beat Poland 2-1, while Austria thrashed San Marino 4-0 in a thrilling Group H encounter at the San Marino Stadium. Well, the qualifiers continues across the continents, given that the 2026 World Cup is just around the corner. Also, that concludes our bulletin this afternoon, but do not go too far, because at exactly 2:30 p.m. the Senate will be resuming its sittings. They are questioning the Cabinet Secretary of Interior, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, and the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, surrounding the death of Albert Ojwang. You do not want to miss that particular encounter with the senators, the CS and the IG at exactly 2:30 p.m. Keep it here at KBC. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Ann Wangeshi. Good afternoon for now.
Ashamed of yourself. Huu ni mtoto wako hapa and she needs his help. Na kazi yako ni kurushia watu midomo without doing anything.
What you want, Pete?
See you and to know how you're doing.
Don't think that I am a moron or an imbecile. In short, I'm not schizophrenic.
Sasa unaongea vitu gani? Hata sielewi unasema nini.
Utasimama hapo mpaka saa ngapi?
Jen, kindly, I would like to serve breakfast.
Hii kitu yangu imejaa mambo mengi sana. Nataka unipe nafasi nitulie. Sawa?
The men and women in boots. They are commanded to defend and protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Republic of Kenya. Their bravery knows no limits.
Make a man go through the wall without breaking the wall.
Laziness. It is not in our vocabulary.
But what are their stories, their tales? Military Tales, every Saturday at 9 p.m. with Ben Troy Njoe.
Hujambo mpenzi mtazamaji, natumai ubuheri wa afya.
Ni wiki nyingine tumekutana kwenye kipindi chetu cha mkulima.
Ni kipindi kinachokupa wewe mkulima mdogo, mkubwa au yeyote anayenuia kuanzisha kilimo
mbinu za kisasa za ukulima, ufugaji, kuongeza dhamana, hadi teknolojia inayorahisisha ufugaji.
Tukiwa tayari kujifunza mbinu tofauti na za kisasa pamoja na teknolojia zinazoimarisha afya.
Niite Uwini Mandi.
Na wanaonijua wananiita Boniface Mutunga.
Gurudumu letu la kilimo wiki hii limetua eneo la Gatondo, ambapo tumekutana na kijana barobaro aliyejitosa kwenye ufugaji wa kuku na nzi chuma. Njoo atusimulie safari yake ya ufugaji.
Hili ni eneo la Kinyumu. Tunakutana na kijana barubaru aliyejitosa katika ufugaji wa kuku na nzi chuma tangu mwaka 2023. Licha ya kwamba wazazi wake walimzoeza kilimo tangu angali mchanga, alihitaji mafunzo zaidi baada ya kuwa mtu mzima.
Nikakuwa nimeenda training mahali kwa mkulima mwingine amerisha. So nikajaribu, nikaona sijashika kabisa. And then nikaenda Isipe. Nikaenda training, nikapata training. And then nikanipea starter kit. And then nikaanza December. Sasa vile nimekutoka December ndo nimeona nimekuwa nikifanya vizuri. Na nimekuwa nikilisha kuku wangu na nimeona mabadiliko kwenye production ya mayai pia.
Baada ya masomo adimu, alitumia mali ghafi zinazopatikana kwa urahisi karibu na eneo lake na kujenga jumba la kuhifadhi nzi chuma. Kwa kutumia mbao na mfuko wa nailoni, hakutumia fedha nyingi na alikuwa tayari kumfuga nzi huyu. Mdudu huyu huanza hivi.
Nzi anataga mayai. Ile mayai unaotesha inaanza kakua kadogo, alafu generally zinakulanga tu uchafu, manyua, kitu inaoza, uchafu wa shamba. Alafu ikikuwa kubwa, hiyo larvae stage ndio inakuanga na protein. It's very rich in protein. Inatumika kulisha kuku na wanyama wengine kama nguruwe na samaki. Alafu pia hiyo uchafu yake inatumika, inaitwa frass kwa kizungu, inatumika kama manure pia, which is organic manure, inatumika kupea mimea na ni mzuri sana kushinda hii manure ya kawaida.
Baada ya nzi kutaga mayai yake kwenye hizi mbao, ziweke ndani ya chakula ili wakati mayai yatakapoanguliwa, vitoto vipate chakula. Kisha, baada ya kuwa wakubwa, wahamishe na uwapeleke mahali paliko na taka na mbolea hai kwa ukuzi mzuri.
Zinakula tu any organic matter, yenye kitu yote tu inaweza oza. Lakini sana sana hapa kwetu tunazipea manure ya nguruwe na tunachanganya hivi na uchafu ya shamba hivi na house waste tunachanganya, alafu tunazipea, tunasiaga hivi alafu tunazipea.
Nzi chuma huwa na hatua kadhaa wa kadhaa tangu anapoanguliwa akiwa yai hadi akomae.
Ya kwanza kabisa inaanza ikiwa mayai, inakuwa hatched, your first insta, and then zinakuanga ni instant, tukua tudogo tu tunaenda tukikomaa. Alafu ikifika hiyo vile ikikuwa kubwa kidogo kama second insta hivi, sasa unaweza introduce hii uchafu. Lakini kwanza ukihatch unatumia wheat bran. Zikiwa ndogo ndo inakuanga mzuri sana juu iko na protein mingi kushinda hii uchafu. So zikikomaa kidogo ndo una introduce kwa hii uchafu ingine ya nguruwe na ya shamba.
Kisha nzi chuma huendelea kukua na kumoma kutoka kwa insta ya kwanza hadi ya 5 na kurudi kuwa nzi tena.
Ini kwanza inakuwa hiyo cream color, and then ina change inakuwa dark, inaitwa prepupa, and then ina turn pupa, which haisongi inakaa nikaa imekufa, and then after siku kadhaa ndo inatoka inakuwa inzi sasa. alafu inzi ndo inataga mayai, inaanza tena process.
Nzi chuma ni lishe nzuri sana kwa mifugo kama vile kuku, bata na hata samaki kutokana na madini mengi yaliyomo kwa nzi huyu.
BSF inasemekana iko na high protein content, iko pia na amino acids, and then we produce ina take much less time and ina cost less resources, na iko na benefits mingi kushinda hizi protein za kawaida.
Kuwavuna ili kuwapa mifugo wako ni rahisi. Ili kuondoa uchafu, kwanza zichuje ili ubaki tu na nzi chuma, halafu unaweza wapa kuku wako ama samaki wakiwa bado wangali hai ama baada ya kuwakausha.
Kwanza tukishazi harvest, tunaziweka kidogo, alafu kama kesho yake tunaziingiza kwa maji moto. Zikikufa ndo alafu baadaye tunarisha kuku wetu.
Mbali na nzi chuma, George anafuga pia kuku. Lengo lake kuu la kufuga nzi chuma ilikuwa ni kwa ajili ya kuwapa kuku wake lishe bora na isiyomgharimu hela nyingi.
Sasa niko na kuku wa kutaga mayai, na nilianza na kuku 400 na zimekuwa zikitaga mayai sasa kwa karibu mwaka moja sasa.
Iwe unafuga kuku wa nyama ama mayai, lishe ni muhimu ili wakupe mayai mazuri ama wawe na uzani mzuri. Akifahamu hilo, George huwapa chakula mwafaka kuku wake kila siku.
Kuku wangu nalishanga mara 2 asubuhi mapema na around saa 7 hivi, na nalishanga na chakula ya duka ya kawaida, naweka 60%, and then asilimia 40 naeka BSF. Nimeona imekuwa ikileta mabadiliko kwenye production.
Soko la nzi chuma na pia mayai kwa George ni rahisi, kwani eneo hili amezungukwa na shule na maduka ya jumla.
Nimekuwa nikiuza kwa direct kwa customers, nimekuwa nikipelekea supermarkets kama 2 hapo Kenyatta Road, na nimeona ni vizuri sana badala ya kutumia broker ukienda kwa mkulima, kwa direct customer.
Mlimia juani hulia kivulini. Ama kweli faida George anazofurahia baada ya juhudi hizi zake zitele.
Acha niseme nimepata, imekuwa it's profitable first, and then nimefanya nikakuwa na exposure ya kupatana na wakulima wengine na kubadilishana ideas. Tangu nianze kupata mayai kutoka kwa kuku wangu, nimekuwa nikiuzia kama vile huko kwa supermarket, nimekuwa nikiuzia majirani pia, na nimekuwa pia nikiuza pia hiyo mbolea unatumia bado kwa BSF, na bado ikitoka kwa BSF bado naitumia kwa shamba, na bado hizo BSF kuzikibaki ni kwa maana sengine natoa mingi, majirani wanakujia na nawauzia, na pia mbolea nawauzia, na nimeona ikiwa profitable sana.
Mbali na lishe mwafaka, changamoto za kufuga kuku ni magonjwa, wadudu na pia bei ya kuuza mayai kwa wateja.
Range za kufuga kuku mostly ya hizi za mayai ni bei sana inayumba na ya mayai inatoka bei ya chini, and chakula bei inapanda juu. So usipokuwa mjanja utakosa kumake profit. Ndio maana nikaanza BSF na imekuwa ikisubsidize hiyo bei.
Licha ya kwamba nzi chuma hasumbuliwi na magonjwa yoyote, pia bado kuna changamoto 1-2 katika kilimo cha nzi huyu.
Kuna challenges sababu si watu wengi sana wamerisha, so in terms of reference unakuwa na shida ya watu wenye wana uzoefu wanaweza kuambia ukipata changamoto, pia kusource takataka, lazima uongee na wakulima kadhaa ndo unaenda kuchukua each now and then.
Lakini hilo halimaanishi kilimo hakina faida. Ukilinganisha faida na changamoto, faida zi tele. Ndio maana George hajutii kujitosa kwenye kilimo na wala hatamani ajira nyingine ile yoyote. Akiwa kijana, mwito wake kwa vijana wenzake ni huu.
Naweza waambia wajaribu kulima na wasikufe roho kwa haraka juu there are more challenges but it's very rewarding.
Kwa kutazama jinsi kuku hawa walivyo wengi na walio na afya nzuri, utabaini kilimo kina matokeo ukizingatia taratibu zake bila kuchoka ama kukata tamaa.
Vijana, natumai mumeona ajira za kibinafsi zitele. Kwa kutumia vifaa na vyombo vilivyo nyumbani, unaweza ukatengeneza chandarua ambacho utatumia kufuga inzi chuma kwa manufaa ya kuku na mimea wako kwa kukupa mbolea. Ukitafakari hayo, wacha nipunge hewa kidogo tukimsubiria Boniface kuona anachotuandalia upande mwingine wa awamu ya pili.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Zungeketi chini tu muongee msikizane.
Kisakata na Juma mapendi kuambiwa.
Oh please, look who's talking.
You know that nobody knows I took out Baraga's here.
Well, we don't know what Jamal means, so we need to be very careful.
Check hivi Kisha kijue story yote anakuua.
Nilikwambia. Hili. Hakuna kitu yote inaendelea kwa ofisi nikose kujua.
Saka. You think I don't know how close you are with Joel? And that you wouldn't tell me anything to do with Ruth because you think she's the one in charge? Is that right?
Sure. You need to find your space, okay? And you, Kisaka, you need to know who pays you, me or Shira, okay?
Asante sana na karibu tena katika awamu ya pili ya kipindi hiki cha Mkulima. Hapa katika Mkulima tunasema kilimo kinapokutana na fursa. Wakati unasikia jina cricket unaweza ukadhani kwa haraka sana ni mchezo ambao unachezwa kule India. Lakini nikulete katika shamba hapa, tunazungumzia mdudu ambaye anajulikana kama nyenje. Sasa wiki hii tunakutana na Daktari Kinyuru hapa katika chuo kikuu cha JKUAT katika kitengo cha wadudu ili tuweze kujua